Hi guys, how are you? So this is the daily analysis of the Hindu for today. That is the 20th of January 2017, and it will be presented to you by me, Dipanshu Singh. Well, you can read more about me on this slide. You can also follow me on Academy on this link to get updates on my courses and on my videos. Do rate and review the course and recommend it to your friends. And so the practice question for today is India's first Center for Digital Investigation and Training has been set up by which of the following state police? The options are Kerala, Haryana, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. So post your answers below without Googling. Well, it's good if you do that. But otherwise also, if you Google, then do go back to the question and write down your answers. So the answer for yesterday's question is A, Manipur, which the island is located near the Lokayukta Lake in the state of Manipur. So the national page news is that central government has wrapped state government over a scheme. So this is regarding the Maharashtra government scheme on the Tejaswini Rural Empowerment Program. So the Maharashtra government has been pulled up by the Center for the Poor Implementation of Tejaswini Rural Empowerment Program, and this scheme is basically supported by IFAD, that is the International Fund for Agriculture Development. So the resources from state, center, and IFAD are components of this program. And we look at some of the details from for the IFAD. So IFAD is a specialized agency of the United Nations dedicated for eradicating rural poverty and hunger in developing countries, established in 1977. And its goal is to reduce poverty and hunger not only by lending but also by advocating for rural poor. So IFAD is also a partner of Compact 2025, which is a partnership that develops and disseminates the evidence-based advice to politicians, decision makers aimed at reducing hunger and undernutrition, which is a crucial component of the Millennium Development Goals. And IFAD is also working in India for more than 3 decades, and India is IFAD's largest borrower and main contributor at the same time. And in India, IFAD targets the population, that is the tribal communities, small farming households, landless people, women, and the young population. And therefore, IFAD took serious view on the non-availability of time release of budget for the Tejaswini project and advised for partial cancellation of the loan. So therefore, that is why the central government is very miffed with the state government of Maharashtra. The next one regarding is the festival of Nagoba Jatra, all set for high-tech makeover. So the Nagoba Jatra is an important tribal religious cultural event that lasts for 10 days, where people from the Mesram clan of Gons flock the vast surrounding of the Nagoba temple in Adilabad district of Telangana. We have asked this question in one of the daily questions of one of the daily MCQs. And Gons from Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh MP arrive for 10 days Jambori, in which they worship their serpent god and other gods in symbolic presence. So to attract the youth to the culture, the free 4G Wi-Fi facility has also been provided. And Jatra or fair also features the ancient sport of Rengi racing, that is the bullock cart racing. So this is again which need to be regulated by Supreme Court, the bullock cart racing, the cockfight, and the Jallikattu. Now, the government wants to keep the post of Lokayukta vacant. So the leader of opposition Legislative Assembly of Karnataka alleged that the Karnataka government was deliberately recommending the names of judges with the dubious past. So this news is basically, will talk about the Lokayukta. So Lokayukta, or Anti-Corruption Ombudsman, was an institution developed by Morarji Desai-led ARC, is in its interim report on problems of redressal of citizens' grievances. And not all the states have Lokayuktas. Maharashtra was the first, and Goa is the latest state to add the post of Lokayukta. And each state having institution of Lokayukta has varying degree of power and autonomy associated with it. So Maharashtra has weak, and Karnataka has a very powerful institution of Lokayukta. If you follow the news closely, you would know that a lot of news comes in regarding Karnataka's Lokayukta, where it is very active. And the amendment in constitution had been sought for institution Lokayukta uniformly across country as a 3-member body headed by a retired Supreme Court judge or a High Court or a Chief Justice of a High Court. The next national news is regarding that the church courts cannot veto divorce laws. This is as per Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court says that the canon law and the decrees of the divorce given by the tribunals or the church courts cannot veto the statutory law of divorce. Thus, the court disposed of a writ petition which was filed in 2013, seeking a judicial declaration that the divorce decrees passed by these so-called church courts are valid and binding. And if you look at the similar verdict in 1996, the Supreme Court referred to its 1996 judgment in the case of Molly Joseph versus George Sebastian, upholding the binding nature of the Indian Divorce Act of 1869, which governs the divorce among Christians. So you can look into this issue with the point of view of the triple talaq for the Muslim community, similar kind of issues regarding divorce laws and the Muslim personal law boards and the law and their particular laws coming in conflict with the laws laid out in the Indian Penal Code or the particular act passed by Parliament and the provisions of the constitutions. So a milestone was achieved in cryogenic engine, which has paved way for the GSLV Mark III launch. So the cryogenic stage and the entire launch vehicle's readiness is closer to fruition. Fruition basically after the engine, technically called the CE20, passed the high altitude flight acceptance test, lasting about 25 seconds at Mahendragiri in mid-December. So it will be used basically to send 3,200 kg of GSAT-19 communication satellite to space. Guys, remember the weight, because last year prelims question, there was a question regarding the weight of a particular astrosat satellite. So do remember these kind of details. And it uses a liquid propulsion system which is developed by the LPSC and has developed the CE20 engine. The cryogenic stage is basically vital for GSLV rocket, as it gives the final thrust and the biggest push in space from this stage, and it can take a big communication satellite to higher reaches of 36,000 kilometers above the ground. So that is why GSLV Mark III is very important for launching the high weight category of satellites, because otherwise we have to use other European space agencies rocket launchers to launch these heavier satellites. If you remember, a lot of satellites are launched from the French Guiana, the launching site of the European Space Agency. The next is international news regarding Chagos archipelago. So Indian assistance has been sought basically to resolve the current tension between the USA, UK and Mauritius on the future of the Chagos archipelago and US military base in the Indian Ocean's Diego Garcia. So if you remember, Diego Garcia is a military base of the US Armed Forces in the region of Indian Ocean. So here, if you look at this map, this is the Chagos archipelago, this is Sri Lanka over here, and this is Madagascar, and this is Maldives and Mauritius. So Chagos archipelago is over here, and if you look at this area, this is Diego Garcia, the military base of US Armed Forces. So basically Mauritius had warned of taking matter to International Court of Justice regarding this, and Chagos Island is referred as British Indian territory by Britain and is home to US naval base. This is also holds the US naval base and also the Diego Garcia. And Diego Garcia was basically a part of British Indian Ocean territory, but was leased to US in 1965 for a period of 50 years, and now the lease has ended. So UK extended it for another 20 years, which actually infuriated Mauritius. So Mauritius does not want this extension to take place. So in March 1971, plantation workers of Diego Garcia were removed and deported to Mauritius. So Diego Garcia finally became a fully US inhabited naval base. And in March 2015, a tribunal brought against UK under UN Convention Law of Seas ruled that Mauritius actually holds the legally binding rights to fish in water surrounding the Chagos archipelago, to eventual return of Chagos archipelago to Mauritius when no longer is needed for the defense purpose. So the Indian involvement by the British government is seen as a positive move, which signals India's importance in affairs of the littoral states of Indian Ocean. But India obviously also has to respect the Mauritius government's decision. So a very tricky situation for India, balancing between their South Asian and Indian Ocean countries and balancing the needs of their allies like US and UK. Anyway, the business page news is regarding the one on the regional connectivity fund. So the airlines are yet to collect cess for regional connectivity fund. So the most of the domestic airlines refused to charge levy on air tickets that will finance the regional connectivity fund under regional connectivity scheme of the Ministry of Civil Aviation. And this scheme is part of Civil Aviation Policy of 2016. And under this policy, the government has basically capped the passenger fares of flight journeys from unserved and underserved airports at rupees 2,500 per hour of flying. This we covered in yesterday's edition of the Hindu summary as well. So the airline carriers dragged center to court challenging the levy of up to 8,500 domestic flights from December 2016. And as far as the states are concerned, 15 of them had actually agreed to provide requisite infrastructure concessions under the regional connectivity scheme. The last bit of news for today is regarding the cap which has been set on sops for electronics. So the Union Cabinet has cleared changes to the modified special incentive schemes for electronics manufacturing. It has decided to reduce the time frame for companies to avail sops under the scheme, and also the cap will to cap the outflow through the special incentive package at rupees 10,000 crores. Now, further, the subsidy to the electronic manufacturing companies will be provided for investments made within 5 years of the project getting approved against a subsidy time frame of 10 years earlier. Now, the MSIAPS, which this is the scheme, is actually aimed at boosting domestic electronic product manufacturing. It was notified in 2012 for both new and expansion projects. Scheme actually provides for a capital subsidy of up to 20 to 25%. So not much in today's newspaper, guys. Otherwise, we have covered all bit of news, which all of the news which are important for our exam point of view. So till next video, I hope you have a good day and thank you so much.